It's the Score North Twin Show.
That's right. It's the first place Score North Twin Show. I feel like we should bring that branding back from a few years ago. Despite an absurd and, I wouldn't say devastating loss, but just like a dumb loss to the Guardians, Twins are still in first place. They're 5 games up. The Guardians are going to lay down at some point, I would think. But, you still have a month to play here, so we'll see. So full disclosure, we are recording this episode before the waiver wire will clear on Thursday. We will do, if the Twins get players, we will react to that later, probably Friday. So if there is news on that front, if they get Angels players that the Angels have just put out there, we will do an episode about that. But you guys have seen this Carlos Correa stuff, right? The last 2 or 3 days, the booing. Like, how much booing have you heard when you've been? I haven't heard a ton, I guess, but it sounds like there was more booing this week of Carlos Correa.
Definitely early. Judd and I were. Was it opening day, Judd?
Yeah, it was opening day. They booed him.
We were there, and he came up with guys on second and third multiple times. It was opening day. It's one game, right? But he was being booed because that was an extra inning game, I believe, too. That was a walk-off win, and he was booed twice on opening day. And outside, I've only covered just a handful and only been to as a fan a few times, but there's definitely some boo birds that happen with him.
There was definitely the last 2 days has been the loudest but he also has grounded into, I think, 3 double plays over a couple of days or so, and I think he's at a big league high 27 or 28 right now, and so I think the propensity to ground into double plays while trying to play through plantar fasciitis has annoyed the fan base based on his salary.
He is, I just looked this up this morning, so he's flirting with the all-time single-season double play record. In fact, can you guys, maybe Declan's already looked this up, but
I hadn't, but he's at what, 28, which is tied with Plouffe and Killebrew.
Plouffe had 28?
Yep, he's tied with Plouffe right now.
Wow.
Plouffe and Killebrew hold the record. With Correa now tied. I'm going to guess the record is 35.
It's 36. Ooh. And actually, it's only 2 guys only one guy has ever had more than 32, and it's the same guy twice.
Pujols
is high on the list. Pujols
couldn't run.
Once had 29 of them.
Yeah, I think he has the most career.
That makes sense. He's played long enough.
Yeah.
Right. Like the right-handed power guys.
And he couldn't run for the last, 5 years of his career. He's basically a statue.
So he's 8 away from the all-time single-season record with a month to go. If he can do basically 2 per week, he can set the major league record all-time. Judd, this is a player more from your wheelhouse that Declan may or may not have heard of from the 70s and 80s.
Greg Luzinski?
Nope.
The Bull?
He played with one team his whole career, the Boston Red Sox.
Oh, wow.
He led the major leagues in double plays grounded into in 4 straight seasons in his prime, in which he also finished top 5 MVP voting a couple times.
Yastrzemski?
Nope. Jim Rice.
Jim Rice. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
In consecutive years, he had 29, 31, 36, and 35 ground into double plays.
All right, yeah.
315 for his career.
Hell of a player.
And that's usually what it is. Like, this list is full of Cal Ripken, Miguel Tejada, Matt Holliday, Ivan Rodriguez. There's some duds in here, but like Dave Winfield, Carl Yastrzemski.
Yep.
It happens with right-handed hitters. But I guess my question to you guys is, does Carlos Correa deserve to be booed? So he was quoted in The Athletic a couple days ago saying, the plantar fasciitis, definitely still a major problem. Quote, every step is a struggle. It's not easy to deal with. Out of all the things I've played with in my career, there's nothing more painful than what I've been through this year, but I'm pushing through it. If it had been a free agent year, I probably would have sat out to let it heal to put up better numbers.
So last year, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm here to help the team win games. Just my presence, I feel I need to be out there. So now that you have a little more information, what do you make of this? Does he deserve to be booed by Twins fans for having the worst season of his career?
Well, one, I don't mind when fans boo because it means that they actually care. Like, to me, I'd far prefer boos to, just basically showing up, being drunk, and not caring. The other thing is when it comes to Correa, with what he makes, I understand the frustration, and I am loath to tell fans what they should do as far as that, right? Like, you shouldn't boo. You don't know. You paid to get in. And if you want to boo, especially a high-priced player who in your mind is not producing, then I'm not going to say, well, how dare you boo. Now, I will say this, for a guy with plantar fasciitis, Carlos Correa has had a marvelous year at shortstop. It's easy to, because he's so good there, it's easy to take for granted how many plays this dude makes. And I mean, he makes plays that Polanco threw the ball, basically above first base into the stands. He makes those plays routinely. He still gets to a ton of baseballs. So I definitely would like to see more consistency, and he should be more productive at the plate than he has been. But the shortstop point to me is very important, because we've all seen what a bad shortstop can do to undermine a team. But I don't like telling fans you can't boo. I think that's a bunch of hogwash, and I don't think that we are. I think we're here to help, inform and give takes, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know that we're here to chastise fans who pay a lot to go to games and buy beers and hot dogs. I don't know that it's our role to say, to defend the player and team. How dare you? That to me, it rubs me the wrong way.
It's very bizarre, and this is not just a Correa thing. This honestly goes back to, local broadcasters and other radio people saying if the Wild fans boo them and a first-round exit, don't come back or don't support your team. It's a weird bravado to protect over a franchises that love to just be there in the dance, but then once the fan base wants just a little bit more, it's, well, you should be thankful for what you have right now. And I have no idea where really this comes from. And to me, it's really crazy. There's the epic Aaron Eckhart quote in Batman of either you die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become a villain. And for whatever reason, with superstars here, there's high expectations. And then when fans start to turn on them a little bit, there's this weird defense of you need to appreciate everything that this person does. And I'm not really sure why that happens.
I think so. Yeah, I think information is essential here, right? Before some of these quotes came out, we were just left to assume things about a 28-year-old player in the middle of his prime. Now we know that there's a potential ankle injury that's looming, but it doesn't sound like this is the ankle. It's plantar fasciitis. It's a different thing. Mm-hmm. But having this information is helpful, because if we're just left with, as fans and media, if we're just left with he's in the middle of his prime and he is struggling to hit over 200, he's struggling to have an above average OPS, it's the worst season of his career. We've been through a little bit of this with Miguel Sano. Byron Buxton's probably more injury driven, or Max Kepler, where just guys in their prime inexplicably just drop off the face of the earth, and you're left to wonder why. Why are these guys not producing when they're 27, 28 years old? But with more information, we know now that, oh God, if he's telling the truth, which I assume he is, he's playing through more discomfort and more pain. I have a little bit more empathy. I'm not going to sit here and tell fans you're idiots if you want more from I think the booing is more, they want more from the Twins. They want more from a $36 million player. Would it be better if he just sat out for 5 weeks and fixed it? The problem is the Twins have not been clear enough of the Guardians for one of their best players and one of their best defensive players to just sit out for a long time. Of course, by grinding through the pain, he's one of their worst players in the lineup anyways. He's still been good defensively. But I tie it back to Joe Mauer.
Yeah.
We collectively booed Joe Mauer because he wasn't producing for a couple years and we didn't know why. And he didn't want to talk about it publicly. He had injuries and some health things that he didn't want to talk about. So when he grounded into a double play or hit, a weak fly ball to left field, we'd boo his ass because he's making $23 million. He's not producing and we don't know why. Well, at least we kind of know why now with Carlos Correa. Oh, he's playing through pain. So I'm not going to hammer fans for it, but I hope now that there's more information that we can be a little bit more nuanced in the way that we talk about Carlos Correa, instead of just assuming that he's mailing it in after banking the $36 million contract. I don't think we're dealing with a guy who's mailing it in and doesn't care. I think we're dealing with a guy quite the opposite, who wants to be out there and wants to be contributing to winning, and somebody might have to step in at some point. It might be too late now because we're almost into September, and say, dude, actually, you could help the team by sitting out for like 3 weeks and getting your foot right, you know?
Yeah, I think he's told the team that he won't, because this team is predisposed to sit guys instantly like that. So I'm guessing he said, I signed, I'm playing, and he's probably got the cachet to say that. The one thing, though, that I will question a little bit is this. Shannon Stewart played with the same exact problem in the Metrodome days on turf, which was worse. And I think it eventually ripped. And when it rips, you're fine. That's the weird thing. And Shannon Stewart was still productive at the plate. I don't know if this is like Correa can't run. The double plays are a product of this. There's no question about that. But I don't know if this is truly like solely to blame for the fact that he's just having a lousy year at the plate. It doesn't help. But this is a running problem. And the reason why I question it is if he like couldn't really move, like if he couldn't hit, his fielding would not be this good. Like he's still making a ton of plays, and his range is not the best of a shortstop, but it's still pretty damn good. And again, I'm crediting him. He's a hell of a shortstop, but I think that there might be some entities that are like, okay, we've explained this away now. Now this is why every problem Correa has. I'm not buying this as completely the problem at the plate. I think it goes beyond that. I am buying that the double plays is because he can't run.
And by August 31st, it's going to be September tomorrow. The Twins are off today. No one is healthy at this point. No one. Whether it's you're dealing with plantar fasciitis, which is a significant injury, everybody is sore, everyone is bruised up, everyone's nicked up. That's kind of the grueling season of a baseball year, right? But you'd like to think if they can sew up this division, the sooner the better, that they can rest these guys, right? Like you can get Kyle Farmer in there for 2 weeks in September, and you can rest Carlos Correa. So by the time this wild card series starts, you only have like a 50% version of your starting shortstop. So that's another reason why those two losses to Cleveland, especially Wednesday, stink, because it just kind of delays the inevitable. Because the Twins are primed to probably clinch the first division in the American League, so they can actually rest these guys so they're healthy for the playoffs.
Just on the booing thing, though, do you guys think? Does booing? Sometimes I think booing helps because it lets the management know. It's a way of voicing your displeasure.
Yeah.
In this case, all right, I'm gonna say something corny as hell right now. Did you guys see that clip like 3 weeks ago in Philadelphia, where Trey Turner was a huge free agent signing for the Phillies, and he was having the worst year of his career in the worst market to be underperforming, by the way.
Yes.
And it was like the first week in August, and Trey Turner comes walking up to the plate at Citizens Bank Ballpark, and those hard-ass Philadelphia sports fans who demand excellence, right, or they'll boo Santa Claus, they gave him a standing ovation. And I think the idea actually started on social media of like, hey, let's use the power of our fandom to get behind the guy that's struggling and show him, hey, we love you, dude. Like, we're glad you're here. And Trey Turner even said, that actually was really helpful. I'm really grateful that they did that. In the 24 games since he got that standing ovation, Trey Turner's OPS is 1,100. He's hitting .365 with 19 extra base hits in 24 games. In those 24 games, he's only had 2 games that he hasn't tallied a hit. And so like the fans kind of inspired Trey. Like maybe he was a little nervous the first few months, new setting, new everything, and it just, you're moving your family, everything. And the fans got up collectively and let him know, hey, man, we got your back. I don't know. I don't know if Minnesota sports fans are like that cohesive or that. Sometimes I feel like we're a little bit more casual in the way that we follow certain. Like Vikings is probably different. Yeah. So I don't know that we would ever do that for Carlos Correa, but I would personally rather see that with Carlos Correa than booing him for grounding into another double play in terms of what would be productive.
But I don't think he's getting booed enough to like galvanize this thing and flip it. And so like if he was if the stadium was fuller, which it's not, and he was being universally booed, then I think what you're saying has a possibility. But it's still like, it's not like the stadium is electric with boos. So I don't know. It doesn't, like, Philadelphia is a different city. Like that is because it's so, and I don't mean to say that we aren't, but unless it's the Vikings, we sort of aren't. That city is so passionate for its sports teams. And we are passionate for the Vikings, but beyond that, I don't know if you have that just hardcore Twins fan.
Where it's like your whole identity, it feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, it's a 75-year-old who's had season tickets since the Met here, an 80-year-old who's had season tickets, some frat boys who got some seats at Twins games. In Philadelphia, I think it's so much more galvanized because it's seen as such a rough sports town.
You know what, though? On that note, on like the season ticket note, one thing I think we need to sign Judd up for. You know how like before the game, sometimes they'll bring out featured season ticket holders. They'll say, here's Barbara, who's been a 20-year season ticket holder going back to the Metrodome. And then Barbara gets to run out to left field and hang out with Matt Wallner during the pre-inning warm-ups. Or like go hang out at third base with Royce Lewis. Can we get Judd out there? It's Judd Zulgad.
No, because I'd be booed. And I can't take the booing.
Run his ass out to center field.
Oh God, I'd fall down. But by the way, I forgot to tell you guys, I did get some controversial scoopage this week during a trip to Target Field. I think it was on Sunday for that game. Did you know that the Twins are now on their third TC the Bear because TC the Bear 2 was pilfered by this team and is now Victor the Viking?
What?
TC the Bear 2. So there's the first guy who was there forever, who I feel you actually saw.
You know what?
Victor.
I was at the game on Friday night last week. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought about this. So I watched TC1 every single day covering that beat for years and years. And that dude was super athletic. I did actually walk in on him changing one time on accident.
One time. I did too. I've seen it with his
I never
Mascot
saw
in 2015. It was quite the
I
sight.
communicated with him. I never saw him.
Yeah. So he used to hit bombs. He was clearly super athletic. And then TC2 looked like he kind of stepped in and was athletic and ready to rock and roll. So they brought out a couple season ticket holders to throw a first pitch out on Friday. And it struck me, dude. Like someone bounced a pitch. And this TC Bear acted like he had never fielded a ground ball or anything in his life. And the ball went to the backstop. And I was like,
That's a great catch because my source told me this guy can't catch.
I knew
so,
it.
You just nailed it.
I knew it on Friday. I said it to my wife. I was like, I feel like is TC like having a back problem or something?
They didn't vet it. This guy can't catch.
No.
I was told by my source, watch what you just said, the first pitches. And TC the Bear catches some of them. But this person said, watch the first pitches. Exactly what Phil just said, Declan. This TC the Bear cannot catch the baseball.
I spotted it from the bar in left field. We were literally like watching. I was like, wow.
Oh my God.
I don't know if I've ever seen a ball go to the bat. That was a really easily fieldable one hop.
You're
very
like a
standard.
bird dog scout from Mascot, dude. You're like a cross checker.
Can't get it past the Score North Twin Show. Try to sneak those new mascots in.
But Victor is TC the Bear too. Vikings pilfered him. They stole him.
Is Victor just going to be hitting softball bombs before games this year? Or they can't get rid of that skill set, you know?
Did TC the Bear too? Did they? I remember the first guy was like a great.
It was like Jim Thome in a bear suit or something.
Yeah, he was an awesome dude.
I don't remember seeing TC the Bear too. I haven't. I've been to a couple Saturday night games, which is when they ordinarily do that softball home run hitting contest. I don't remember seeing it this season, but I might have missed it.
I mean, if you can't catch, can you hit bombs? I don't know.
No.
Just run around and be a mascot, I guess.
I figured it out. It's Edward Julian's side job. He's TC the Bear
out
3.
there. He's out there at second base, just oh gosh, TC.
First guy was great. Him and I were great buddies in 2015 when I worked for MLB Advanced Media, and there was one time where Al Franken was like doing a speech, and I don't know if you guys know this, but Al Franken loves to gloat on the microphone a little bit, and he leans over to me and just goes, "Holy cow, wrap it up, Al," and just trying to get the pregame festivities
in the mascot suit.
It like leaned over to me, just wrap it up, Al.
Dude, mascot life is a whole thing. Judd, do you remember? I think it's been long enough we can tell this story. Mike Grimm told us a story one time about the Gopher Athletics. Yes. They were doing some tour, like the annual Gopher tour around the state, kind of like the Twins tour, the caravan. Mm-hmm. And there was like maybe 5 people on this bus just traveling around. It was like Mike Grimm, and then it was like a coach. Just everyone knew each other. And then there
Athletic
was
department official, right?
an athletic department official of some kind. And then there was like a college-aged kid on the bus as well. There's like maybe 6 people. And so they get off the bus, they go over here, they go to their stop, and then at the event, there'd be a Goldie Gopher. Like a Goldie Gopher would just be out there doing his thing and hanging out with the kids and spinning his head, right? And then they get back on the bus, and again, it would just be like the people from the athletic department and Grim, and then like the college-age kid. And so Grim goes back and sits next to this kid on the bus, and he's like, so, what's it like? What's it like, kind of doing this, And the kid's like, what are you talking about? And Grim's like, I mean, like, being Goldie, like, it must be kind of cool, right? Being Goldie. He goes, just deadpans him right in the face and says, I'm not Goldie. I don't know what you're talking about. Like he was yes. told, you do not tell anybody that you're Goldie. But there's multiple Goldies, but you don't tell your girlfriend, you don't tell your parents, you don't tell anyone.
The second part of that, though, was I think Mike told us that Goldie at an event like signed someone's body part, like an arm or something.
Oh, yeah, I got in trouble.
And so on the bus, the athletic official went back to the kid and is like, you cannot be doing that. You can't. And the kid's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You'll have to talk to Goldie about that.
Yeah.
Last,
genius.
Last thing on the mascots here, from what I remember too, is so when I worked at the Saints, at the time at least, Mudana, the big pig mascot who I even saw last night. I don't know if it's the same person, but like that person who played Mudana at least played like SpongeBob at MOA Park. She had like a bunch of different costumes that she would like.
It's like a professional mascot. Yeah.
Yeah, she was working all these
Probably
mascot jobs. Yeah.
It's probably great money.
Yeah, do you get like a 401k as a professional mascot?
There's a union. Sure. There has to be a mascot.
A union?
There has to be.
Collective bargaining agreement?
Yeah.
Go on strike. Strike is a mascot, though.
What?
I said go on strike and strike as a mascot.
Like
so
on
like
the
TC the Bear's
okay.
on the picket line as TC Bear. Pay the bear.
Okay, speaking of the St. Paul Saints, so Declan, before we get to the Immaculate Grid, which features the Twins today, give us your report. You were there last night. Byron Buxton was in center field for the first time in a year. Kirilloff was in the lineup. So what was Buxton didn't really get any action, though, in center field, right? What did we see?
From what I saw at the plate, at least starting from there, just very comfortable. Drew a couple of walks. You can tell that Byron's a big leaguer, playing some AAA games, which happens. It's normal once you're kind of an experienced big league guy. And then in the field, Dave Festa, I believe, is it? Festa, who was just called up from AA, making his start on the mound for the Saints, was the starting pitcher. He actually played very well, but almost all of his stuff was on the ground. So Festa gave up a bomb and then almost back-to-back bombs. The one that went off the wall that Royce was talking about was doubled off, and he just gingerly went to it. I think he thought it was going to be out. And then he would just got very light work in center field. So mostly just kind of, swinging a bat, getting loose a little bit. I do agree with Pat. Not a great first game in a vacuum for Alex Kirilloff. Rolled over a couple of really just weak ground balls to first. He did get an RBI, but you're definitely going to want to see that guy get a lot more swings and get more comfortable, I think, before you rush him back here. And I think, thankfully, the Twins' offense has been, I know yesterday they just had 4 hits, but they're not in a hurry necessarily to get him back in the lineup. That being said, I want Alex Kirilloff at 100% and not rushing him back anytime soon either.
Yeah, unless that division lead starts to shrink to like 2 games or something, then you get a little panicky. But as of right now, I treat a 5-game lead over the Guardians like a 12-game lead over a real baseball team. I know they just took 2 out of 3, but it's baseball. So get these guys. Yeah, if he needs like 6 games down there to get right, don't rush him back for both those guys.
The Guardians also, if you look at their September schedule, it's fairly difficult. Like, the Twins should go in 2 or 3 there first of all, okay?
Yeah.
Go take 2 next week in Cleveland. But if you look at the comparable schedules, like the Twins have a lot of soft teams. They got White Sox, they got the Mets. I think they got Kansas City left. So this would be one of the more epic meltdowns. I don't think it's going to take place, but if they did melt down, the Twins did, this would be one of the more epic meltdowns because it's going to be. I mean, Cleveland was trying to gift you the division.
Yeah, and they were trying to gift you 2 out of 3 minimum, this week.
Right.
You probably could have won all 3 games if you start to do some, mental gymnastics, but
Do we know, just to go back to the Wednesday loss very briefly here, do we know who called the pitch when Duran, who has a 104-mile-an-hour fastball, threw that breaking pitch behind Naylor? I mean, Jeffers got blamed. I don't even know if Jeffers calls the pitches. The dugout might call the pitches.
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
But how do you not have Duran? Again, these are things that lose you baseball games. If Naylor hits a Duran 104-mile-an-hour fastball with 2 strikes, you know what? He beats you fair and square.
Yeah.
Which I'm comfortable with, by the way. But when you're getting cute, what are you doing? Like this type of stuff that drives me crazy, because to me it's self-inflicted.
It's also like it's almost like there's a weird fear of like, oh man, they're gearing up for my fastball, right? So I got to throw them out. It's like, no, when you have the best fastball in Major League Baseball, just throw it. Just throw it in these situations. And if, like you said, if they beat you, wouldn't you rather a guy gear up and hit a 103-mile-an-hour pitch down the line or over the fence? You could live with that a little bit more than like a secondary pitch that you don't have a comfort or a good feel for at the moment. So. I think the quote of the day yesterday that I saw through various outlets, Chris Paddack. So Chris Paddack still under team control, by the way.
Team control.
He has not pitched much since the Twins acquired him via Taylor Rogers. Emilio Pagan was part of that trade too. So he had Tommy John surgery. He's been out for 15 months. So he missed basically he missed all of last year or a huge chunk of last year and then pretty much all of this year. So he said, quote, "There's a lot of people that have forgotten about me. I'm about to show the world here in 4 weeks what Chris Paddack's been doing for the past 15 months. In the third person. I love this guy, dude. Let's bring this dude back like, what's his name? Wild Thing, Ricky Vaughn. Let's get him like the skull glasses, the leather vest on the way out. Let's get Chris Paddack back here for the playoffs.
Oh, my God.
I'm trying to deduct like I like confidence, bravado in athletes, but I like it from only certain people, and I'm trying to figure out how much I should put into the Chris Paddack of the world, who's made 3 starts with the Twins and is talking about himself in the third person as if he's Mariano Rivera coming out of the bullpen. Basically.
A lot of people have forgotten about Chris Paddack, and I'm here to show him. I love it, man. This team needs more of this. They need more of Chris Paddack.
Well, that's why they've got him under team control for the next 60 years.
You don't know what he's been through, okay? He's coming back. He's you might have forgotten about who Chris Paddack is, so don't be throwing boo birds at him either. He's ready to go.
It's me. So he is saying that he's going to be back basically for October. Are they really going to just like run him out there after not pitching in the majors for 16 months?
Dukes, I believe, said on the Scoops about 3 weeks ago he was skeptical of that, and the Twins are too. But you know what? He will be back in spring training to take Sonny Gray's spot, because Sonny Gray might just flat out put on his tennis shoes and run out of town. Did you see his press conference, his post-game press conference yesterday?
I did not see it.
Well, first of all, I did not hear him asked how he felt about being pulled after 7. I think he was at 81 pitches, no runs. Yep. But his demeanor, he looked like he wanted to rip someone's head off.
I love that about Sonny Gray.
Me too.
I ride or die with Sonny Gray, man.
Give me game 1, Sonny Gray.
He is wound tight. But you know what? In that case, if he was pissed off, which I'm guessing he was, I don't blame him.
Yeah.
He leads the AL in ERA.
I know. A 2.98?
Yes. Yeah. And the other news, too, out of just in terms of pitching, it sounds like Louis Varland is officially beginning his transition to the bullpen in St. Paul. They're going to try and get him like 2-3 innings at a time, bring him down from like the starting innings load, because if he does have a role on this team in a month from now, it likely won't be as a starting pitcher, because Joe Ryan's back. Kenta Maeda is here. They got enough guys. They might bring Bailey Ober back into the rotation at some point. So, I mean, Louis Varland, hey, man, you got 35 or 40 pitches. Empty the gas tank. That's a fastball that might be tough to hit. But I like that they're spending a month trying to figure out, can he get used to coming in, with a couple guys on base, pitching out of the stretch more often, et cetera.
2-strike breaking pitches, Phil. That's the key to life. Just throw breaking pitches. Bounce them. Bounce them like Duran did. Again, don't get cute. God, I hate when people get cute.
Yeah, I think that's what you worry about with the Twins going into the playoffs, is getting too cute. All right, it's enough waiting around here, boys. The Twins are on the Immaculate Grid today, presented by ourselves, the scorenorth.com/shop collectibles section. Scorenorth.com/shop. We've got the merchandise wing, and we've got collectibles, and you can find all sorts of amazing things to buy right now, courtesy of Universal Sports Auctions. I see there's a TJ Hawkinson autographed jersey. He just signed a lucrative new contract to be the Vikings' long-term tight end. In terms of baseball stuff, we've got a Sandlot cast autographed jersey, a Torrey Hunter custom signed white Twins jersey, and some other fun things. I love the Nolan Ryan Robin Ventura fist fight signed and framed photo. That's pretty cool for a man cave. Go check that out.
The Randy Quaid, man, the bleepers full is my all-time favorite one, I think. I absolutely love that one.
Signed, right? That thing is signed.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Ventura just got his ass kicked, too. That was a great fight.
Hey, he bleeped around and found out going out to Nolan Ryan.
That's country strong right there. Nolan
so
Ryan,
you can check out these collectibles again at scorenorth.com/shop and click on collectibles. And thanks for supporting us here on the Score North Twin Show. All right, boys. We successfully all avoided doing the Immaculate Grid Challenge on a day where our controversy from last week we weren't
supposed to do it?
I'm calling your bluff, Judd. Calling your bluff. I'm going to put 6 minutes on the clock.
Okay.
We'll put this up on the screen here for the YouTubers. So here's what we're looking. Oh, and the Cubs too, dude. Anytime the Cubs and the Twins are on the grid at the same time, it's low score. It's low score time, boys.
It's low score time. Exactly right.
So and it's Judd's wheelhouse because there's no statistical categories. It's just teams. So we're looking for a Twin who was also once a Brave, a Twin who was once a Met, and a Twin who was once a Cub. We're looking for a Pirate who was once a Brave, a Pirate who was once a Met, and a Pirate who was once a Cub. And a Ray, God, the Rays are kind of spoiling this. A Ray who was once a Brave, a Ray who was a Met, and a Ray who was a Cub. Judd, any complaints or gripes about the grid that we need to get off our chest here before we start? We know you like to complain about the
the Rays. I don't like the Rays, but that's fine. You know what? This is overall a great grid. Like, I love this challenge.
So we're looking to go 9 for 9, but I think in this case, because the Twins and the Cubs are on the grid,
let's go low score with those teams.
A rarity square, the most rare players we can think of. So I'm going to put 6 minutes on the clock. Let's be calculated here, okay?
Calculated and communicative.
Yes. So my suggestion for Twin who was a Brave is reliever Steve Bedrosian, Bedrock, played for a bunch of teams.
So the one that I had in my head for obscure was Otis Nixon, but I think yours is more obscure than mine.
Yeah, Bedrock.
His last name.
B-E-D.
There he is.
All right, let's see here.
We good on that?
Yeah, I'm good on this.
I'm good with that too. That's obscure.
Two. I thought. Okay, wow.
That'd be lower than that.
Me too. For Mets and Twins, I was gonna go with Tyner.
Ooh. The two I had written down for sure here, just off the top, were Jesse Orozco and Mike Pelfrey.
Yep, and Jerry Kuzman is the other one.
Tyner might be the play, dude.
Yep. I'd love to know what Orozco is, but he's got to be he's an Immaculate Grid darling, so Tyner's probably the best one.
0.2.
Yes, at a boy.
Nice.
So, God, there's so many Twins Cubs options.
Yeah,
we've had this on the grid before. I did Pat Mahomes Sr. one time, and that was a good one.
Terry Mulholland.
That's another great one.
Ron Davis.
Coom Dog.
Coom's going to be probably a little higher.
I think Coom's high.
A little higher.
Because he's
Kevin
new
Tapani.
Yeah, that's another one.
Might be a little high, actually, because he was on a World Series team.
So who'd you say before?
I said Terry Mulholland.
Dude, I love Terry Mulholland. That's super obscure.
He's a great Immaculate Grid guy.
Did Mike Morgan pitch for the Twins?
Yes. He pitched for both teams.
Mike Morgan might be a... What do you think?
I feel like we're on the right track here.
78 to 02. Should we do
That's got to be below 1%, right?
Rarity scores.
Right, come on.
1%.
1%. Okay.
I got screwed on Bedrosian. I'm sort of pissed about that.
So 3.2% overall. I think the lowest rarity score we've had is like... I think the Vinster wants to leave.
By Vinny.
The Vinster has to leave.
Who's a good boy?
Have we ever gotten below? We got below 50 a couple days ago. Did we got like a 49 or something?
Pirate Brave Sid Bream played for both teams.
Sid Bream did. That might be a little high. Well, we should go with it. Let's go with it.
18.
18.
Yeah, that's high.
Pirate.
Let's finish out the Cubs. The Cubs here.
Okay.
Okay.
So Aramis Ramirez would be,
Yep.
that's probably a high one though, right?
Yeah, but
Where
that's
do
a
you
good
think?
one. It's probably 15%. It's probably from between like 10 and 15%, because he was a pretty good player.
Right.
Okay.
20.
20%. That's okay. That's okay.
I have an obscure one for Cub who was a Ray.
Okay.
I loved the mid-90s Cubs. And Ray Sanchez was a Cubs middle infielder, like a utility guy.
R-E-A.
R-E-A Sanchez. He also played for the Mets, the Rays.
No, R-E-Y. I'm sorry.
R-E-Y Sanchez.
Yeah, sorry. My bad. I said R-E-A. Love it.
Zero.
Point
God,
two.
yeah. Oh, dude, let's go. We're cooking. We're cooking with gas right now.
3 minutes left, boys.
Okay. A Met.
Did
Jesse Orozco pitch for the Pirates?
I don't think he did. I don't remember him as a Pirate.
Edwin Jackson pitched for the Rays. Didn't he also pitch for the Braves? It might be an Edwin Jackson day. Eddie Rosario, he didn't play for the Rays. Did Dan Johnson play for the Braves?
Fred
Dan Johnson hit the epic home run.
Did Dan Johnson play for the Braves? Dan
He
Johnson.
he played for the Rays. I know he played for the Rays.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
The crime
Dog
Fred
played for both.
It will be a
Yeah.
high one.
The Crime Dog.
For
But I mean, it's a
Braves-
sure thing.
Braves and Rays, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he played for both.
Fred McGriff.
That's probably going to be a little high, but
Yeah, it's gonna be 20%.
17.
Oh, 17.
not so
Okay.
bad.
Okay.
All right, Mets and Pirates.
These Rays ones are so ridiculous. Did like Al Leiter play for the Rays in the early, these weird Rays
know.
teams?
Yeah, Ooh, I think you're right.
I don't know. He
Was
played for
Leiter?
it was Marlins. He played Marlins and Mets.
Okay. All right. Who played for the Mets and Pirates? There has to be somebody who I can draw from. Pirates.
Pedro Alvarez? Did Pedro Alvarez make his way to the Mets? Oh, maybe.
Pitchers. What about starting
Jason Bay.
pitchers? Yep.
Jason Bay for the Mets
That'll
and
Mets
Pirate.
and
Right there.
Pirates.
Good call.
That's going to be high. We're kind of.
That's okay.
It is what it is.
14.
Okay,
14. That's fine.
14.
That's not bad.
All right.
We got a minute left for a Met who was a Ray.
Dex, I'm going to count on you more than me for this because you got a better recent memory than I do.
A Met who was a Ray.
Relievers. Kyle Farnsworth.
Oh man,
Did he pitch?
that would
for both?
have been a good Ray who was a Cub, but not as good as Ray Sanchez.
I think it's way to pat yourself on the back.
Kyle.
Ray Sanchez.
Ray Sanchez. A Met.
Ah man, Farnsworth. Did Turk Wendell pitch for the
Pitch
for the
Mets
Rays?
for sure. I don't remember him as a.
This also could be a Rich Hill square.
Did he pitch for the Mets?
Yeah, I think so.
Did he? That would have been another Rays Cubs one. 10 seconds.
Well, if he pitched for the Mets, it would have been a Pirates Mets one too. Oh gosh.
I'm gonna go Farnsworth.
Okay.
You guys
Okay.
trust me?
Pull the
No,
trigger.
I don't, because I don't. But it's fine.
Pull the trigger.
It is what it is.
Oh, let's
Yes, attaboy, attaboy.
I trust
I
you.
never lost faith in you,
Who
Declan.
trusted
ever.
you? Who trusted you? Sports fan trusted you. I told you I
1%.
trusted you.
Farnsworth.
Oh, and look at that
Kyle
picture.
Farnsworth,
And look at that picture.
dude.
He's gonna kick. He's gonna come through the Immaculate Grid and kick your ass, Phil.
Dude, he is, and I've seen him like on social media the last few years. So he's still jacked. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, Eddie
Pictures him
Rosario, Johan
the,
Santana, and LaTroy Hawkins were the most popular.
But only 9 for Twins.
There's
and
so
only
many
56
Twins.
Only
For Cubs.
56% got them.
So many.
And there is 163 combinations between the Twins.
I mean, there's a.
Yeah.
and
That's one of the
Cubs.
easiest ones, I think. But of course, twins. We know twins, so.
Ben Zobrist.
Ben
Ben
Zobrist.
Zobrist. Yeah.
Charlie
Oh,
Morton, Victor Zambrano. Yeah, that's a
Remember
good one.
Victor Zambrano? I
Bobby
didn't-
Bowe.
I didn't recall Zambrano was a Ray.
Yep, I think
Bobby.
pretty sure that's where he started. Actually, he was a
Bobby Bonilla. Well, good job, boys.
Hey, nice work, boys. Twins on the grid. Gets your day and your blood pumping a little bit here. We will tomorrow. We'll do an episode on the waiver news, one way or the other. Can the Twins get their hands on these free players? Basically, not quite free, but like they don't have to give up anything trade wise from the Angels. And we'll do a little feedback Friday tomorrow. If you guys could click the subscribe button and the like button on the Score North YouTube channel and give us a 5-star rating and a positive review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, you can help us continue to grow the Score North Twin Show.